Hey everybody, this is Dominic here. I'm going to try and talk you through a bit of kind of video training really because I want to show you how I figured out from researching online some techniques and tricks and tips or whatever to sort these p12 files out that you need to create an iPad or an iOS app. Um, Basically, all the information out there predominantly, including many step-by-step guides, talk about making this p12 certificate file that you have to have on a Mac desktop using tools on the Mac. I don't have a Mac. I went through this process with 3 people I know with Macs, and one of them wasn't sure if it was safe to do. He was a bit nervous. The other 2 were fine, but each time we tried this, we actually couldn't get it to work. In the end, we couldn't get the app to be compiled and be completed. So in the end, I managed to find a solution and do it myself on my Windows PC. There isn't super great tutorials for this out there, and what I found is I had to jump around different places to get the information to solve certain problems along the way. So what I'm doing for you here is a single guide to solve every issue I run into and step by step through doing the whole thing. It's primarily aimed at sorting things out for the Kotobi software from the guys down in Cairo, which is cool. But I'm sure the technique for creating a p12 file can be used for any app. It's just I'm tailoring this instruction toward this Kotobi. So the first thing, if you're cool with that, the first thing we're going to do, I'm just going to set up my machine a bit better. Just give me a sec. Pull them into the front. We need that and we need that. So I'm going to go through this really step by step because I need you to know I am not a programmer. I'm not really hugely techy. Some of the stuff you're going to see in this video, it might look quite techy, but actually it's all right. It's okay. You don't have to panic. It's doable. You just use your brain a little bit and follow the instructions. The first thing you're going to need, though, to do this, to create the certificates, is we need to go online to a website. We need to download some free software. And I'm just going to copy and paste the link. The link can probably be in the description below this video, but here's the link. When I was searching for this, I went to a few websites. It's making me jump around between different sites to try and find a working link, but this is the one I found that works. It's on the Shining Light Production site, slproweb.com, within a certain page there. But basically, we scroll down on this page, we find the latest version, which is 1.02 at the moment, and we'll just go for the light one. Open32 OpenSSL 1.02 Lite. By the time you view this video, there's maybe newer versions out here, but it's OpenSSL Lite is what we want. So we click it, we let it download. It comes to my computer. And so I go to download. I'm going to click it so it installs. I'm going to accept the agreement because I want to use this. Now, I've already installed this, so I'll overwrite it, but here is where you would choose to put this on your computer. By default, as you probably know, programs tend to install in C drive in program files or something like that. I prefer to keep mine elsewhere, so my paths are different. Mine's in my D drive within an apps folder. You can put in whatever you want there, or you find your folder where you want it in your program files or whatever. But I'm doing mine here to my apps to OpenSSL, and I was trying to add its own little extension there, and I don't want that, so I'm just going to clear that. Okay, next. You can make a folder, that's cool, next. Gives you a choice here between installing certain files to your Windows system directory or to its own folder. To me, it made sense to keep it all together in its own folder, so I chose that option and gone next. Let it install. You can donate. If you've got the money to do it, please do so, because they're doing this stuff for free. We have the software now. The next step is we want to start actually making some certificates, but a little trick for Windows, which some of you may have already done. If I pull over a folder, I've just got to one side here, just bear with me a second. A folder here. If I pull up some files in, many people by default have their system set up so that the file types are hidden. This may look a bit different to you if you're running Windows 7 or 8 versus Windows 10, which I'm on. But basically, you're looking for, there's normally an option here. It used to be in, I think it was View Folder Options. Now it's under, in Windows 10, it's under File Options. And you come to View. By default, Windows is set so that this here, hide extensions for known file types, is turned on. What you see when that's turned on, look at my files here. These are all images. It's telling me that, okay, there are the PNG files here, that's fine. I personally prefer to see what extension they are because I want to know what I'm dealing with. It's kind of helpful for what we're going to do with these certificates because it helps us identify what we're looking at. So I'm going to turn this hide extensions off and click apply, and you'll see all of a sudden I've got these extensions .png, .txt for text files and stuff. That's my personal preference. I find it helps. Okay. Once we have done this, the next thing to do is we want to start the process of making the keys. The first key or type of file we need to create is a certificate signing request file, a CSR file. To do this, we're going to use the new software we installed, this OpenSSL. To get to that, I'm going to do a little bit of typing. So you go to CMD. If you're in Windows 7, you should be able to click on Start and Run, or it has a search bar anyway, I think, in Windows 7. But in Windows 10, you just click straight down here and type in CMD. And you'll see your command prompt. Now, this is quite a small window, I'm afraid. I don't actually know how to make the text any larger, so you'll have to grin and bear it. But you can see, when it's first opened up here, it's just, some of you may remember from before the days of Windows, you had Microsoft DOS. This is kind of the same kind of format as that. At the moment, it's telling me, it will show me files if I asked it to in my users folder for my name. What we need to do is find our SSL software installed. As you may remember, you may have installed it to your program files. You may have installed it to a different folder like I did. Mine's in my D drive, so I'm going to go to my D drive, and rather than try and type all this in, the easiest way to do this is, if I find the folder for it, this is where I installed my files to. No, it's not. That's the wrong window. This is where I installed the right files, the files to in my machine. You have your folder chain, if you will, there of where it's installed. But you just want to get the address of it and click on it, and you'll see it changes to an address on your computer. You can just copy that. I'm going to go change directory to what I'm going to paste in there. All of a sudden, magically, I'm right there in that folder. This is where I need to be. There are various files in here. The one we're going to be using is this OpenSSL.exe, the executable file to do these commands. So the first command we're going to type in, or even not going to type in, because you should have a document or some text beneath the video, something, some way or other, you'll be able to have the information you can copy and paste. We're going to create a private key, and the easiest way to do that is copy and paste this to a notepad document. And the reason why is because it can be a bit fiddly to edit text in here without deleting everything. This will be the command. You're going to say, "For you, OpenSSL program exe, you please generate an RSA key and output a file called whatever it's going to be called, and it needs to be 248 bits, please." So I'm going to call this key file test iOS. That'll do. Test iOS. I will know what that means. So that's my command. I'm going to take that, copy it, and paste it to there. This is doing a complaint, which I did solve. I'm surprised it's done it again. But it's telling me here, the first thing, it can't find its own configuration file. That's quite stupid because we've installed it. I can tell you from what I've figured out that this CFG file is the configure file, but it doesn't seem to know that it's there. Don't worry, there's a solution. We need to tell the software here where that configuration file is. So the command, which I'm going to copy from my notes and put into this text document again, is going to tell this tool to set the configuration file for OpenSSL to whatever the location is. Well, in my case, the location is in my D drive, right? Where you installed it, and this is where it is. I know this because that's the file there, which is here, so it all matches up. Okay, so with that command ready, I'm going to paste that back into my command window here. It doesn't show you anything to tell you it's done, but we have to believe that it's done. So we will now try again to create our key. No complaints about the configure file this time. That's cool. Right, so we now know, I'll drag my folder back here for you to see, we now know in where we've installed the SSL software, it has created a key file. My test iOS key, which is exactly what I asked it to do in my command, which I've just lost. Where has it gone? There it is. Test iOS in the tiny writing. That's what it's created. What does this look like? It's a 248-bit key file, if anybody is interested. That's about all I can tell you. Like I said, I'm not very technical like that. So, we've generated the key. We've created the key, not the request. Next, we have to create the request. So, here's the next command. I'm going to paste it into my test document so I can edit it. We're going to ask the OpenSSL program to create a new key from the key name, from the key that we made, which in my case, this is where we start to change it. I called it test iOS. That was the name of my key. It wants to output a certificate signing request, .cert signing request file. I don't know if you can or can't change that because of how Apple may expect us to receive things. I left that as is. I just know that's going to be the file name I've got to look out for when it's done this process. Part of the information that goes in here, which I believe needs to match up to your Apple account, it asks for the email address. Because this is what will be in the app I would test with. Your name, this is important. It has to be, as far as I can tell, this CN file, sorry, the CN figgy, whatever it is even called. See, I'm not technical. It was something name, content name, or something like that, or creator name. That in this case for me needs to be, I believe, this here. My team name is to do with what you've. I believe it's to do with how you set up your Apple iOS developer account, because you need obviously to have that account set up so that you can actually submit your app. You need to pay $99 to Apple to set this up. Once you're in and this account sorted, you'll have this information. So this will be my command. At the end of the command, I think it's not quite wide enough. At the end of the command, it has an area which you need to fill as well. This C equals, in my case, it's GB because I'm in Britain. If you're in the USA, it'll be US. There are some guides somewhere online. I don't have them to hand, I'm afraid, as to what country code you need to put in. Mine is GB. So here, the command. We're asking OpenSSL to create from using our key, which in my case is test iOS, to create this sign-in request using these details, which ties in with the Apple account. So you have to have that right, okay? So I'm going to put that in there. It's a long command. Right. Again, you don't know that it's done it until you go and check your files. So here's my files. There's the file we've just created. Okay, the .cert signing request file. We're making progress, guys. That's what we do from here for the moment. Next, we're moving into the Apple account itself. So Once you've logged into your developer account, you have to do three things in here. The first thing is create a certificate. And by the way, again, not being a techie, I'm just telling you what's worked for me in creating the certificates for being able to get an app onto the store. If you're doing proper development and you're doing proper ways of correct ways of doing this, then you probably will do other versions of this where you'd have a development key. But we're doing a distribution key for putting it on the App Store. So anyway, long story short, we go to the certificates area. We click on the plus sign in here. We're going to do production because we're going to the store, not developing. Scroll to the bottom, click on continue. This is what telling you how to do it on a Mac. We don't need to do that. We've already done this. So it's asking us to upload a file. This is the one we just created here. So let me find it. If it wants to, there we go. Let me find the right folder. Right, this is this file here, this baby. Okay, open that. Let it upload. This then gives you back a file to download, which is the iOS distribution certificate. So I'm going to download that. It's named iOS distribution.cer. It goes to my download, so I'm just going to grab it. For the sake of this process, dump it into the same place in your OpenSSL folder where we're currently generating stuff, because we're going to need to use this. Next, we're done here. We're going to make an app ID. This is here. This is where we have to pay attention to what we're doing over in Kotobi, because here I'm going to create or type in my details of my app information. And this is my BHA test iOS, just so we know. My package ID, now this is very important. The help question, like info, tells you to use something a bit like reversing a domain. So for me, you might put something like com.testios, and then call it like app or something. For example, I think that will work. App version number 1, description, I think is essential, I'm not sure. But I'm going to put in here, and I'm going to add an icon, which I've got, I think I put it in there actually. Nope, where did I put it? It's in there, there it is, icon, 1024 pixels. So that's there. The key thing here is the package ID. So you want to copy that, and when we create this app here, the app name, I'm going to call it my BHA test iOS. I don't know if this and this here need to match, but that's what I've done just to make sure. The bundle ID here, this is the package ID. It has to match as far as I understand, it has to match. For the Kotobi stuff, I didn't need any of this other stuff here, all these extra features and services I need to plug in, so I just left them. Click on continue. This then just give me a summary. I'm going to click on register. Okay, we're done. So here you can see it has an ID ready to receive information about our app when we're uploading later on. Okay, the last step in here, we go to provisioning profiles. I'll be honest, I don't really quite get what these are about, but this is something you got to do. So we come in here and we click on add. We're going to be doing an iOS. No, we're not. We're going to be doing a distribution app. Is that right? Let me just double check if I'm not telling you wrongly. I think we're right. Yes, it's going for the App Store. See, I have to check this stuff, do you know? I'm not techie. And it's going to ask you which app ID does this new profile key relate to. It's going to be this one here, my test iOS one that I created. You know, you saw it a couple of seconds ago. Click on continue. I guess that's going to be this one here because it's the newest one. It's got the same name, probably because I put in the certain description. But that's today's date, so I'm going to go with that one. Profile name. This, to be honest, I can't even remember what this was. But I'm gonna put in VHA test iOS. That'll do for me, I think. So it gives us another thing to download. If you may remember from your Kochobi, this can be one of the things you actually need for iOS. So this is important to note down where this saves to, where you're going to keep it. So we're going to save it. You can see here, it's calling it, the file name I gave it, .mobile provision. It's downloading. Move that from where it's downloaded to where my open SSL thing is, so we can easily process it. Okay, so that's what we've just downloaded here. Hope you're still with me. We're nearly there. So we've got that. Now we need to do the final steps in OpenSSL in my command window. So got a couple of commands, which again, we're going to copy and paste to speed things up, make it easier. We need to create the p12 file using the various bits and bobs we've got hold of. So here's the command. Now I need to double check. It's my files because this is copied and pasted from someone else's tutorial elsewhere. It's asking us to process the certificate file, the CER. So my CER is this one here, iOS. So I'm just going to click on that for speed, copy that name. Let's Control and C I'm doing, by the way. Paste that in there. So we're going to process using this file, my iOS CER. Do whatever the hell that is, because I don't know. We need to create a PEM file that doesn't exist yet. We're going to create it. I'm going to call it, just to help guide me, my test iOS PEM. And I guess that means output a PM file or something like that. I don't even know. I'm going to copy that. See, I'm telling you, I'm not techie, but I'm doing this. I'm going to paste that in there. It's done something, I assume. It was so quick. Let's have a look. Test iOS PEM. That is PEM for you dirty people. Okay, you got that file. Next, final task. You have to merge and do whatever to these files and processing it to make the p12 final step. Here's the command. I'm going to copy and paste from someone else's tutorial, so you're going to see me alter it for my circumstances. It's asking us to create this PK CS12 file using the OpenSSL software. The input key is our input key, and it is, I've lost it, there it is, my test iOS key. That's my one. You've watched me made this, guys, earlier. Using this key here, do whatever it's going to do. Using this input of the PEM file, my PEM I made, and my test iOS PEM. And output, finally, a p12 file. I'm going to call it DOMS test p12. .p12. That will be my command. Let's copy that. Highlight it, copy it, paste it back in my command window. It asks you, now this is important, it asks you for a password. For the sake of this demo, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't show you, you can't see it typing in, so be very careful. It asks you to verify it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is now done. We now have in the background here a p12 file. So, what does this mean? It means I can close this down. It means I can close my command window down because we've got everything we need to do the iOS app. iOS app is asking us for a p12 file. Oh look, what I'm going to do actually to keep all my files together. Let's get all these ones you've just created. I'm going to order by modified. I'm going to take all of those just so I know what I've got. and copy them. You can cut and paste them, I just copy them to put them on their way. And I have a lovely folder set up specially over here. There we go, got it. Test demo keys folder, just to show you guys. So that's where I'm going to look. That's what I'm going to tell Kotobi these files are. So my p12, it's in my test demo keys. There it is, and it sees it. Okay, that's my p12 file. It's got it open. Provisioning file. This is what we got from Apple. It's already found it because it's listing by type anyway. So this is my BHA test iOS API mobile provision certificate password. This is important. This is what we put in when we made the p12 file in the command window. For me, was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This here, it says it's optional. I believe, I don't know if it is essential or not, but for the sake of making sure we had something for everything, I'll just put in version 1 or something like that. By the way, this here does say optional in this version of Kotobi. I had problems here because other guides I read online said not to bother putting a password in when you create the p12, and therefore we don't need to put one in here. However, it turns out that is now incorrect. That is not up-to-date information because Apple have changed the way they deal with these files. The guys at Kotobi were giving me some great personal support and helping me through this, and it turns out you have to have a password. So when you were making those p12 files in the command window, that last step we did, you have to put a password in, which you know I did, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the same password we're entering here. So I've done my app. By the way, you know it's because the software is kind of like an ebook, but that's the sort of thing we're doing. That's ready to roll now, guys. I'm going to click on Generate App. Oh, for some reason, it's lost my p12. I've got to put that in again. I don't know why I did that. So we've got our p12. We've got my mobile provision. Let's generate. Right, it's validating it. And this is where you can get a bit nervous because it gets sent off to the Kotobi servers, and you either get an email back in a few moments. I think it's normally about 5 to 10 minutes in my experience. That says your app was rejected, or it says your app is ready to download. So I'm basically done in here. You don't need to look anymore at this, although obviously I'll go through and delete these later on what I've made because they're just test things, but you're done in there. Those are my files there. So now I just got to wait for a nice email, which hasn't come in yet. So I'll minimize that for a sec. So we've got to sit and talk, guys. So I hope you followed all this so far. It is kind of techy, but do you know what? It's not that techy because I'm giving you the information to copy and paste and changing the information relevant to yourself. It's whatever you call your files. You then have to update the information in your commands, but it's a step-by-step guide. And honestly, I had to search around many sites to find this information, and where those glitches going wrong, I had to find the solution elsewhere. So hopefully you can see I'm doing you a favor here. Let's see if anything's come through yet. Nothing yet. We'll see how long we have to wait out. Now it's 2016, so we'll see. So guys, I ran into some issues while I was doing this video, funnily enough, and it threw me, I'll be honest, but I'm going to be transparent with you. We got to the bottom of the issue. After I was doing this video, or while I was doing this video for you, and I submitted the iOS build to be processed. My email came back. If you remember, I submitted it in 2016, and then at 2020, here, I got the email back saying the app was rejected. It did throw me, I've got to be honest. I was expecting it to go through perfectly smoothly because I did everything the same as I did for myself when it worked perfectly. And so I spent some time trying to retry, and I couldn't get it to work. So I was thinking to myself, what have I done wrong? And it just goes to show how easy it can be to get things wrong. However, all is not lost. The whole video you've seen so far is fine because I was working today with the Kotobi guys and we were trying through a few different things to figure out what had gone wrong. And it turns out, if you remember, when I made my p12 file and when I was entering the information into Kotobi, I put my password as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. it turns out that this is not a clever idea. It turns out that there may be some issue with the way passwords are handled somewhere in the chain of events of processing, and the guys at Katobi are going to investigate this, and it may be solved in future. But right now, at this time, what you need to do is use a password that is not all numbers. You cannot be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever, even though I did that for demonstration purposes only. Whether you do a password, this is a complete mix of letters and numbers, whether you do a name of something or whatever password you want to do, it needs to be letters or letters and numbers together, just not completely numbers on their own. So as you can see here in my little command window, this is from last night when I was doing my commands before, and I've just repeated the very last step here, the open SSL. I was making a new p12 file, basically. I was trying out different tests, and I made a new file with a new password. And so in this latest example, I put in the password very simply 4AABBCC. So it's a mixture of numbers and letters. And the good news is, with doing that, I got apps, iOS apps ready to download. So what happens finally when you get this to this stage, once it's all completed and gone through, you get to download your app, which gives you this IPA file. This is what you will then need to get uploaded to the Apple iStore, iTunes and iApp Store when you make your listing. Now, I'm not going to do a tutorial here for creating the thumbnail, the screenshot images. I'm not doing a tutorial on uploading from a PC. There are other ways to do this, and that can be covered elsewhere. But the main part of this video, the main point, was to be able to create your p12 file on your PC, your Windows PC, which all the other tutorials out there seem to be just for Mac. This is doing on a PC, creating the p12 file, and therefore being able to create the correct stuff to go to the Katobi servers in order for your IPA app to be generated. And that's what you want. All of this is rubbish if you can't even get your IPA file and your app to upload to the iStore. So there's the solution, guys. You go through everything we've done in this video, and you use a password in your p12 file that you enter in here. There's a mixture of numbers and letters. Good luck. I hope you can do it.